Hello, welcome back to my Solar Journey series. And we're in February, which has been quite a sunny month. But what I've noticed in the recent weeks last week, that it was quite cloudy. And this got me thinking to whether solar panels work in cloudy weather. So when you're talking to people about solar panels, you've got those who are against solar panels and saying that they won't work in Britain because it's too cloudy. And then on the other hand, you get people who go, solar panels don't rely on just direct light from the sun, they just work with general light, and so therefore will still be producing. So for this video, I've decided to just sort of demonstrate whether they work or not, and how well they work, because I think that's probably the more important question. So what I did was, on Monday to Wednesday of this week, I went out at different times of the day, took a picture of the sky. I've tried to keep the picture roughly at the same place, and then I looked at what my Solis inverter was saying, so I relied on the reading from the actual inverter, not the app, because the inverter is in real time. And what I also did was look at what the BBC was saying the weather should be doing, and what I've done is I've put those pictures together with the time of the day and what the power was, and obviously that little bit from the BBC. So this is what it showed on Monday at 10 a.m. The power was 0.46 kilowatts, and as you can see from the BBC weather little square there, it was saying it was going to be dark cloud and mist, and that was fairly accurate. There was quite a low cloud. It wasn't as dark as I've seen the clouds. It was still quite a white cloud, but it was quite thick, it was quite low, and there was mist in the air. And before I continue, what I should probably say is that these pictures are taken facing south, which is the direction of my solar panels. My house is a few degrees off south, so we'll say it's pretty much perfectly south, so it's pretty much ideal. We're on top of a hill. There's no shading on the panels except for a little bit from a chimney, which we've got optimizers on those panels. And my total output from the panels can be 4.65 kilowatts. So as you can see from that Monday, with that thick cloud, with the drizzle, we were producing about 10% of the total power or the total capacity of my panels. If you now look at the bit later on Monday, this is at 12 o'clock, so this is when we're getting close to the peak of the sun. We're still in February, the sun is still getting higher in the sky for a certain time. It's still a few months off its max, but it should have been fairly good at this point, but yet the actual power output at this point was 0.43 of a kilowatt, so it was a little bit lower than the morning. And again, we still had that same weather. It was still, when you went out, you could feel the mist on you, and it was still that low cloud. If anything, it was a little bit lower than it was in the morning, so that could count for that slight drop in the power. We should also say that when you look at the numbers on the Solis inverter, they do fluctuate by a few tenths of kilowatts, so not tenths, hundredths of kilowatts. So that 0.3 could have been up to about 0.6. So it could have been low as 0.4. So that's just a grain of salt. But as you can see, it's still roughly that 10% point. I then came back at 3 o'clock. So now the sun is starting to actually go down. The sunset at the moment is about 5 o'clock. So this is when the sun was actually quite far past the peak of the day, so it's starting to go down. The BBC was saying that the cloud had now turned to a white cloud and we didn't have that drizzle, but as you can see from the picture, it's still fairly low, it's still fairly thick, and our power generation had gone down there to 0.33 of a kilowatt, so that is about 7% of our capacity. Then I did the same on Tuesday. I went out really early on at 9 a.m. Sorry, that picture says 9 p.m. It should be 9 a.m. So this is still as the sun is rising. The sun is actually quite far over to the east in this picture. And at that point, we were only producing 0.06 of a kilowatt, which is very low. That's hardly anything at all. That's not even enough to actually keep our house ticking over. And as you see, the BBC was saying it was dark cloud, and again we've got that thick white cloud cover, and again there was a bit of mist in the air. Moving forward a couple of hours though to 11 a.m. the power had gone up to 0.75, so we were now up to about what would that be? About 17% of our capacity. And the BBC has still got that black cloud, but as you can see, that cloud has lifted. It's a bit higher cloud, it's a bit lighter. You can see just in the top left hand corner of the screen there, the cloud is a bit brighter, so I think that's what's coming through on that. And then finally I went out on Wednesday morning, and as you can see, on Wednesday morning the BBC was predicting rain with dark cloud but sunny spells. So basically they don't know what's going on. I should also point out the BBC weather isn't the most accurate, especially when looking at it this way. They have been saying that there was bright sun and we've looked out and it's been tipping down with rain, so again, take that with the pinch of salt. So this was on Wednesday. Again, there's a mistake on this. It should say Wednesday, not Tuesday. At 9:30 a.m. and at this point we're producing 0.303 kilowatts, which is about 70% of our total capacity. And as you can see, there's a bit of blue sky. That cloud is much higher up in the sky. It's much brighter, so the sun is right behind it. So I'll put all these pictures now next to each other on the screen so you can do a direct compare of everything. But I think what you can see is that solar panels do work, but the efficiency is massively hit. So normally when there's thick cloud cover, you're lucky to get between 10 to 20% of your efficiency. So the advice for this would be, make sure you get as many panels as possible. So even if your inverter is only rated at 5 kilowatts, but if you can fit 6 kilowatts of panels on your roof, do that, because in the winter and cloudy days you will get more generation. Obviously my house is ideally situated for this, so it's south facing. People who have east-west arrays, they're probably going to have a much lower generation as well, so because the sun is sitting much lower in the sky. So I can't obviously do a test on that, but I'm sure there's videos on YouTube that show that. Anyway, thank you for watching. As usual, please hit that subscribe button. As I've explained in a previous video, it's really helpful if you can just take that moment to hit the subscribe. If you have any ideas of videos you want me to make, whether that's on my solar journey and explaining stuff, or actually going into the science of how solar panels works for my Monday series, or if you have some maths that you want explained for my Wednesday series, please drop it down in the comments below, and I'll see you again soon.